Yo, what's good, my people? It's your boy, Big Chris, aka the Compton Animator, and I'm here to bring you another WWE SmackDown review. So tonight we're reviewing WWE SmackDown for May 2nd, 2014. And before I get into anything, I got something else that I want to talk about before I get into any of my reviews. I want to start off with this. So I went to see Amazing Spider-Man 2 tonight with my mama. So I went to see that tonight. I thought it was a pretty chill film. I don't think it was my favorite Marvel film this year. That goes to Captain America: Winter Soldier. But this movie I thought was, pretty good. I think it's my favorite Spider-Man movie so far. I think they did a great job with Gwen Stacy and Peter Parker. Their chemistry on film was very good, and I think this is the best they've done with Spider-Man as a character ever. I think he's, very witty in this. He has a little bit of the assholishness in here. They toned it back from the last movie. And also, I think that they did a pretty chill job with the villains here. I think that, they don't give enough time to some of the villains. Especially like with Electro, I think he could have used a little bit more time, especially as the character of, Max Dillon. But I think they did a very good job for what they did. The beginning of the movie and the end of the movie I thought was very good. The middle of the movie ran slow a little bit, but I thought overall as a package this was a good film. And yeah, go check Amazing Spider-Man 2 out. See it with your mama. Mother's Day. So let's get into our reviews. SmackDown, NXT, and main event. So let's start off with WWE main events for April 29th, 2014. And we start off with a match with Del Rio versus Goldust. You get an okay match here. And this match is basically a continuation on the whole Cody Rhodes and Goldust, potential breakup. And this is like a kind of rubber match type thing for Del Rio versus the both brothers. You get Goldust, who gets into a pretty okay match here. They both, get a good amount of offense here. Pretty quick match, but you get Goldust, who hits the final cut and end up winning here. They do an interview with Renee Young. She asks Goldust. She tells Goldust congratulations on his win. And then she asks Cody Rhodes and Goldust if they're going to be doing more singles matches and if this is it for them as a team. Goldust says no, we're still a brotherhood. She tells Cody Rhodes asks him, is he proud of his brother? He kind of takes it as an offense, and Goldust goes back and says, no, she doesn't mean it like that. Then Cody comes back and said, I've gone through a little, bit of trials and tribulations in this last few months, but no, I'm still proud of my brother, and yeah, we're still a team. So, they kind of cheer with each other, and then Goldust go to the camera and starts cheering, and I thought, okay, Cody Rhodes is going to attack him from behind, but no, they just do that, and I'm proud they didn't, just blow that up here. I'm glad that they're slowing this storyline down and taking it pace by pace. Hopefully, this can be something big happen and just won't be a generic, breakup of a tag team, and we actually get something good out of this. But a pretty okay match here, and, I like that they're pushing on with this Cody Rhodes and Goldust story. So next you get your Divas Champion Paige, and she's taking on the very, very beautiful Alicia Fox. They have a really good Divas match here. It goes on for a little bit of time. You get both girls have some good offense in here. Paige ends up winning with a implant DDT, and you get Paige picking up the win. I thought this was a very good Divas match here. You get up the ramp, and Paige sees Tamina, who sneaks up behind her, and they just have a big stare down. And I just really like this whole thing between them, and especially what Paige has done since she's came in here. I think all the divas have kind of stepped their game up. Everyone that she's faced so far has had a better match than they had in years, especially when you look at Oksana and, Brie Bella. I thought they did a very good match with Paige, and they stepped their game up for her, and they're giving Paige some time to work here. I don't understand why they couldn't do the same thing for AJ Lee, but at least they're giving it to Paige and letting her work. So I'm looking for something out of this title match right here. So next you get Bad News Barrett. And he comes. Oh no! First, before that, you get a backstage segment with Sheamus, and Sheamus here he does an interview where he talks to Renee, and she asks him if he's scared of the Wyatt family, and he says no. He's been around ghosts and goblins and leprechauns before, living in Ireland and stuff, and the whole Celtic myth and mythologies and stuff. He said it's time for a finish, and he's going to basically beat the shit out of the Wyatt family and take them apart. And I thought it was a pretty okay promo with Sheamus right here. So let's go to the next thing. So now you get Bad News Barrett, and this is Bad News Barrett who comes out and cuts a promo on Big E Langston, basically saying Big E is bland and that he's going to take the title from him at Extreme Rules. I will do my Extreme Rules predictions at the end of this video. So you get an okay match here with Big E and Kofi Kingston. Bad News Barrett and Kofi Kingston, and Bad News basically hits a he hits a bull hammer from a jumping Kofi Kingston, who jumps off the steps and basically runs into the bull hammer and flies into the bull hammer, and Bad News Barrett rolls him back in and picks up the win. So your next match you get is wrong page. Is Bray Wyatt versus Sheamus, and this I thought was a pretty good match. The crowd most definitely got into it. You get Bray Wyatt, who first gets to the ring, and he starts singing "The Whole World in His Hands," but Sheamus interrupts it with this theme song, and they get into the match. Like I said, it was a pretty good match. You had some really nice physical brutality in this match. These guys were hitting their moves very hard, and they were going at it here, and I really liked the way they worked this match. It did go on a little bit too long for me. I thought that, they could have ended a little bit early, especially for a match with not that much build, but you end up getting Bray Wyatt, who hits the Sister Abigail for the win. And the Wyatt family ends up attacking Sheamus at the end of the match, and the Usos run out for the save. So you're going to see more of that on the SmackDown part of this review. But I thought altogether that this was a pretty chill main event. It kept everything in this show storyline wise, so it did hype up a lot of the story stuff, and I thought that the matches were pretty okay, especially for a main event. You're not always going to get good matches on the show, but I did think you had some pretty okay matches, and I thought the main event part of main event was pretty good with Sheamus versus Bray Wyatt. So if I had to rate this show, I would give it a B-. I think it was a B- type of show. So yeah, especially coming off a pretty good Raw, I thought they did a good job with this show right here. So next, you get NXT, which came on May 1st, 2014. And first thing you get is Triple H, who comes to the ring. He puts over NXT product as a whole and the whole audience as a whole. And then he tells us that we're going to have an NXT special event. I think it's May 27th that it's going to happen. Sometime in May. Yeah, I think May 27th, some shit like that. So they're going to have an NXT special event, basically another NXT pay-per-view. And he tells about that. So after that, and before I say anything, I'm pretty hyped for this. The NXT Arrival was pretty good. And matter of fact, it was very good. And I think that, especially with these guys on NXT, they can do a lot more with having, pay-per-views every other month. So I'm very excited to see this, and I'm glad these guys are getting more and more stuff for them. So next, you get Bo Dallas, who comes out with a new intro and music and everything. I really like everything going with it. And you get him versus Tyson Kidd. And these guys go and have a pretty chill match. Both guys shared a good amount of the offense here. And the crowd was very good in this match. They start doing the Wyatt's Whole World in His Hands song and start swaying their hands and stuff, which is kind of a little play on play with Bo Dallas, who's also the brother to Bray Wyatt in real life. So, I like that there. But like I said, you get a pretty good match. Tyson Kidd hits the blockbuster off the ropes for the finish. And after that, you get Bo Sorry. After that, you get Bo Dallas, who's very pissed off and saying that Tyson Kidd cheated because Bo's shoulder was up. So you get the crowd that starts booing Bo, and that's how you end this match. Like I said, I thought it was a pretty chill match, and I really did like the way Bo Dallas went here. I'm glad they gave Tyson Kidd the win to push him a little bit forward, but Bo Dallas could use this, especially as more heat to him and give him a reason to leave NXT and go into the main roster. So next you get my girl Bayley and another person with a new entrance stuff. So something added to her entrance, and she gets the, how do you say them? The wacky, wavy, inflatable tube arm man added to her entrance, and I totally marked out for this shit. I thought this was really, really funny, and just her reaction to these things, like she was just surprised as fuck when they popped up. So I really did like that, and she ends up getting a match with Sasha Banks, and they have another really good Divas match. The third really good Divas match I've seen this week. The other two being the Paige versus Alicia Fox and Paige versus Brie Bella on SmackDown. But this was a really good Divas match. Both of these girls worked well. They end up hitting their finisher and kicking out of each other's finisher, and you get Sasha Banks, who ends the match with hitting a backstabber, then going to the submission hold and making Bayley tap. So you get Sasha Banks, who wins. And I didn't say this before, but this is the first round matchup for the NXT Divas title. So this is a tournament match. So you get your first round tournament matchup right here, and Sasha Banks moves on. So I was kind of disappointed that Bayley didn't move on, but I like Sasha Banks as well, and she looked very good in this match, and the best I've seen her look in a while. So yeah, moving on to the next thing, and that is Adam Rose versus Diana Brooch. Oh, and speaking of this dude, some people got released from NXT this week. I heard, I don't know if it's completely true, but I saw it was this guy right here, Danny Broach. It was, what's his name? Fuck. I'll say it if I can remember it. But it was a couple of people. Vicky Guerrero's daughter who got released. Mason Ryan, that's the dude's name. He got released. So yeah, a few people. I think Oliver Gray got released too from NXT. So a few NXT stars got released, and I was surprised to see that Mason Ryan and Vicky Guerrero's daughter get released. So yeah, I guess things like this happen. So yeah, I don't know if it's fully true, but that's what the internet says, and the internet is always right. But you get Adam Rose versus Danny Broach. The crowd really reacted to Adam Rose here, and it was really what made this match. They had a pretty chill match here. A very quick match, and it was basically Adam Rose hitting his moveset. The dude finally got a moveset going for him, and he got a new finisher going for him. So he ends up picking up the win here after using the finisher. So he starts dancing with his peoples, his rosebuds, and after that you get Camacho, who tackles one of the rosebuds on the outside and has a stare down with Camacho, so leading into more and more of the beef between these two guys. And like I said, I thought this was a pretty good match and a pretty good afterwards with Camacho. So yeah, it was pretty chill right here. So next you get another Divas match in the first round for the Divas title, and it is two main roster divas, Natalya versus Layla. And you get Natalya, who comes out and she talks about how competing for the NXT Women's title is it is a dream come true for her. And Layla comes out and says that she's going to dance around the title, because what Layla wants, Layla gets, or she's going to dance around the other people because what Layla wants, Layla gets. And this was an okay match here. Layla as needs to find another way to call her moves. She does this move right here, and she'll call a move in the girl's ear, and I'm like, we can see you, girl. You need to find another way to call your moveset. But like I said, this was a pretty okay match here. You end up getting Natalya, who hits the sharpshooter, ends up picking up the win off of Layla and moving on into the tournament. So next you get Oliver Gray versus Mojo Rawley, and a squash match, pretty boring squash match here. I still hate his finisher. And after that, the only important thing that come after that was Mojo Rawley, Adam Aiden English came out and got into a little argument with Mojo Rawley. He came out on stage basically saying, Mojo Rawley needs to get out, and this is his stage and his place to move up. And he goes in the ring and blindsides out Mojo Rawley. Then Mojo Rawley ends up getting him out the ring, and they have a big stare down at the end. So I'm interested to see what they go from here. Hopefully this can push Mojo Rawley to something else, because his character is still very much incomplete, and he needs another finisher than what he has, or he needs to maneuver that shit better. But it was okay for what it was. So next you get your main events, which is Brodus Clay versus Adrian Neville in an NXT title match, and this is a no DQ match. And this comes after last week when Brodus Clay knocks out 3 of Adrian Neville's teeth in the backstage segments. And you get right here, you get a okay, so you get a pretty chill match, I thought, here. And before the bell rings, you get Brodus Clay, who starts attacking Adrian Neville and just tries to beat him up, but Adrian Neville quickly takes that and just starts going at Brodus Clay, knocking him around the ring and getting him to the outside. And then ends up beating him up on the outside, gets him back in, they ring the bell, and you start getting a pretty chill and pretty physical match from both dudes. Brodus Clay tries to use the title at one point, and he ends up getting a red arrow for his trouble. But like I said, I thought that this was a pretty chill match. Both of these guys had some good offense. Brodus Clay looked very strong here, and he hit a couple splashes that looked very good for him. And, he's looking very good as a redirected character for himself. But you get Adrian Neville, who picks up the win off of the red arrow and still looking strong going into his next feud, or probably a little bit more with Brodus Clay from here. So I like to see where he goes from here, and I thought this was a pretty good title match for these two guys. As far as this show goes, I thought this was a really good NXT. It had a lot of new things here, and it had a lot of things that advanced towards this pay-per-view that they're having, our special event that they have coming up. The stuff with the Divas and the stuff with Adam Rose, the stuff with Adrian Neville in that title match, I thought did very well here, and they did a good job of telling storylines and making sure every single match mattered in a certain way. So for my rating for this show, I would give it a B+. I thought they did a pretty good job here for a show, and it feels like NXT is starting to find this, refine this groove that it kind of missed when it first got onto the network and a little bit before that. So, I think it's starting to find this groove here. So, next, you get your WWE SmackDown. And this is SmackDown for May 2nd, 2014. And first, we start off with the Wyatt family versus the Usos and Sheamus. And before the match, they talk about the Usos, who said that they helped Sheamus out on the... They said this on a pre-show, that they helped Sheamus, fucking dogs, man. They helped Sheamus out on main event because they knew that they would end up having to fight with the Wyatt family either, sooner or later. In that, they just wanted to get this over with because they got the titles. The Wyatt family is going to come after them and, try to do something. So they wanted to get it out the way. And you get what I thought was another pretty chill... Oh, going the wrong way. You get what I thought was another pretty chill match from the Usos and from the Wyatt family and Sheamus. All these guys go really good in this match, and they were doing very well here of just, going around and making sure they use the entire ring and ringside as, as a defensive in this, as a opportunity to, make a good match here. You get Bray Wyatt, who ends up coming off of a blind tag and tagging himself in and coming up with the Sister Abigail into one of the Usos and picks up the win here. And then the Usos try to get a little bit of payback afterwards by trying to, go attack the Wyatts. But the Wyatts attack back and lay out Usos and Sheamus. So I thought, like I said, a pretty good match between all these guys. So next you get your WLC contract signing. The audacity of the WWE to do a contract signing for this match is just beyond to me. But you get a contract signing that I thought was actually pretty funny for what it was. It starts off with 3MB giving their giving their demands for the match. You get them saying that they want their music on their best of album played throughout the whole show, and they want mini green M&Ms and all type of other bullshit. And then you get El Torito, who goes on and says, "I'm a horn you" or something like that. I'm gonna give you the horns or some shit like that. And then they start signing the contract, and you get El Torito, who signs it with his hoof. So I think that, the way they played this little promo was pretty good, and as a contract sign, I thought it went really well, pretty well. You get both of these guys who fight each other on the table, then get thrown out, and 3MB gets thrown out of the ring, and you get El Torito, who goes out and does a dive onto all of 3MB, and 3MB stands on top for the end of the match. For the end of the segment. So, like I said, I thought it was a pretty okay segment. Probably their best segment that they had. That's kind of crazy saying because their segments haven't been that great, but probably their best segment that they have as far as this whole rivalry's been going. So, next you get, which I'm going the wrong way again. Next you get Rob Van Dam versus Jack Swagger. And you get a pretty chill match between these guys. Before the match starts, though, you get Paul Heyman and Cesaro, who come out and sit on ringside at the announce table. And like I said, you get a pretty okay match. You get Jack Swagger, who attacks Cesaro on the outside, but when he tries to get back into the ring, he gets kicked by RVD and ends up getting a frog splash for his troubles. A pretty quick match, but it ends with Cesaro doing a neutralizer onto RVD after RVD picks up the win, and Cesaro standing proud and tall in the ring. So, like I said, a pretty quick match. Not a lot to it, but it did bring on a story for what's going to happen with these guys on the pay-per-view. So next you get Lana and Rusev, and Lana comes out, talks up Rusev, and she kind of brings it towards Mother Russia and how, Rusev is a tyrant like Russia and shit, and she basically just talks him up here. And let's see. So the match you get versus R-Truth and Xavier Woods on the outside. And you get R-Truth, who starts off with some okay offense at the beginning. Rusev gets a little offense in himself. Rusev gets thrown outside, and he has a confrontation with Xavier Woods and knocks Xavier Woods out, and catches R-Truth after a dive, hits him on the apron, gets back in the ring and tries to beat up on him, but Xavier Woods comes and attacks Rusev. They have a big showdown in the ring. Rusev ends up getting kicked out of the ring. They dive on Rusev, and then they just have a big stare down with Lana and Rusev and R-Truth and Xavier Woods. Okay for what it was, but I felt that it was a little bit too heelish for Xavier Woods and R-Truth for what they did, picking up the DQ, letting Rusev have the DQ win off of this. It's kind of a little bit too heelish for this, but it's okay for what it was. So next you get Daniel Bryan, who comes out and he cuts a promo, and he's basically talking about how families should stick together and how he's no different than anybody else, and he's willing to take up for his family. And he goes into this whole thing about how Kane touched his wife, and it's going to be war for what Kane did. Never mess with a man's family, and especially a man's wife. And he's going to basically beat the shit out of Kane and drag him to hell, and if he has to, drag him to hell along with him. So I thought start off as a really good Daniel Bryan promo, and like seeing some fire from Daniel Bryan right here, especially since we haven't seen him in a long time, and just you still think in the back of your head that damn, this dude has been through a lot in these last few weeks. Especially, marriages and title wins and father dying and stuff like that. That's still in the back of your head when you see this guy come out and cut a pretty good promo like this. So, next you get Kane, who comes on the screen and basically tells Daniel Bryan that, yeah, you can take me to hell, but I like it there. And if we get there, I'm going to take you on a tour. And he starts showing Daniel Bryan this whole video of hell I mean, of what his version of hell is, and it's basically showing a video of him beating the shot of Daniel Bryan and other people. So, I thought this was a whole pretty good segment right here, and you get Daniel Bryan who gets pissed off, takes off the neck brace, showing that he's ready for Kane, and Kane just maniacally laughing here. So, not a lot with this whole Kane and Daniel Bryan stuff, but for what they've done in a short amount of time that they had, I thought that this was done very well. And it's not a lot that you could have done, especially with everything that was going on. So this was done pretty chill, and I like this whole segment right here. So next you get shit. Damien Sandow, aka Magneto, versus Dolph Ziggler. Ziggler wins. This tells the story of the whole match. It was Damien Sandow fighting in a Magneto costume. What the fuck else can I say? It wasn't as bad as what happened on Monday Night Raw. At least this was quick and over with, but it still sucked ass. So next we get Big E Langston versus Titus O'Neil. Your Intercontinental Champion Big E Langston versus Titus O'Neil, and you get a match right here where Big E and Titus really showed their physicality here. Both of them showing their strength, their agility here, and I thought they looked very well here. So you get Titus, who's been going his whole aggression kick, and basically just starts beating the shot of Big E, throws him over the announcer's table, and you couldn't even hear the announcers for the whole rest of the match because they knocked wires loose and shit. And Titus is just beating the shot of Big E this whole time, gets him into the ropes, and just keeps beating him up. And the referee has to call the bell because Titus beat him up past the 5 count, and Big E wins by DQ. But I thought that first, okay, damn, this is another DQ win for Big E from getting beat up. We had one with Del Rio. We get another one. This is how Big E's title reign going to be. But luckily, Big E came back, and once he got out of the ring and got a little bit, away from Titus, he came back and just started beating the shit out of Titus. And his brutality here was just funny as hell. He was throwing Titus into everything and just like botchfully throwing him into stuff. Like Titus couldn't get his footing, so he was tripping over shit and just getting thrown head first into everything. And it just looked brutal as fuck. But you get Big E, who finally gets Titus back in the ring and just, steps on him and just, proclaims that, he's a badass here. So I thought this was a pretty good segment. I like seeing, some aggression out of Titus O'Neil especially. And, just seeing Titus right here and just seeing, him throw some more aggression out here, even though Big E still came out looking the stronger man. I think that these two would have a good, feud going back and forth. So next you get a Bray Wyatt promo, and first thing you see is Bray Wyatt with a record player, and he's playing the whole kid singing. He got the whole roll in his hands, and then he goes onto the screen and he starts talking about John Cena, and he said that the face of John Cena was priceless, and it was good seeing his heart being broken by seeing what happened with all the kids and stuff. And that the best way for the kids is for them to join with Bray Wyatt. And he says he will win at Extreme Rules and will leave Cena old and decrepit. So I thought this was a pretty good promo from Bray Wyatt. They've all been pretty good from Bray Wyatt here. And I just love that they keep playing with new ideas and fresh ideas for, things that he's doing. I don't really think that he needed a promo tonight, but I enjoyed it that he had one, especially going into the show, and hope to God he wins, but I'll talk more about that when I do my predictions. So next you get Dean Ambrose, that came out with the Shield. They had to leave because the Authority said they couldn't be out here, versus Del Rio and Ryback in a fatal 4-way match for the United States title. And you get a pretty chill fatal 4-way match here. You get Ryback, who kind of gets some tension and breaking up here. You get all the guys who come in and do their moveset very nicely. This wasn't the best fatal 4-way match I've seen, and it was a pretty good one as far as a TV fatal 4-way match goes. It's not pay-per-view quality type of match, but I thought it was a pretty good match, and I think that all these guys came out here and they worked pretty well. You get Dean Ambrose, who comes out with the roll-up and picks up the win in keeping his title, and then you get Ryback, who starts trying to beat up on Ambrose, but the Shield come in, spear Ryback. Superman punches Axel, then puts him into a triple power bomb. and the Shield stand tall. Dean Ambrose still champion. So leading into Extreme Rules, and guys still standing strong. So as far as this SmackDown goes, I thought it was another pretty chill SmackDown. And as far as my rating goes, I would give it again a B minus. I thought as far as this week, it was this was an above average week for wrestling, and if not a B or B minus, I thought all these shows were pretty chill here. So let's go into my predictions for Extreme Rules 2014. And let's go with the first match, which is a WLC match or pre-show match, which is Hornswoggle versus El Torito. I don't know what the fuck I'm expecting from this match. I'm interested in the whole WLC idea and what the fuck is it, but I see El Torito coming out with the win here. Maybe Hornswoggle will, if you go by wrestling logic, with the last guy to lose on TV actually wins the pay-per-view match. But I expect El Torito to win here and keep pushing up El Torito more. And hopefully this is done with after this pay-per-view. And I'm happy that this is the pre-show match too. So next you can get your triple threat elimination match with Rob Van Dam, Jack Swagger, and Cesaro. I'm pretty hyped for this match, especially dealing with the fact, all these guys have been feuding for the last 2 weeks, especially between Cesaro and Swagger from feuding from WrestleMania. And also I want to say, it's kind of weird having a pay-per-view so, quick after a pretty good WrestleMania. I guess that since this WrestleMania was pretty good, the whole pay-per-view feels like it's a little too soon. But like I was saying with this match, I think this is going to be a pretty chill match. I see Cesaro picking up the win here and keeping on pushing him up further and further. So next you get your IC title match coming off of the tournament for the IC title where Bad News Barrett picked up the chance to fight Big E for the title, and I actually still see Big E keeping the belt here and moving on. I see something happening to where that is going to lead into something at Payback, and they're going to continue this whole feud with Bad News Barrett, and maybe Bad News takes the belt from him at Payback. But I see this match moving on and Big E keeping the title here and something happening and it probably ending in a DQ or something. But I do see Big E keeping the title here. So next we have the handicap match with Xavier Woods and R-Truth versus Alexander Rusev. Rusev is going to win here. He's going to beat the shit out of these guys. No matter what it is, they're building up Rusev to look like a strong man. So, he's going to demolish these guys here. Next you get John Cena versus Bray Wyatt in the cage match. Man, Bray Wyatt has to win this match. I think Bray Wyatt as a character is kind of on the line in this match. I mean, he can lose and still be a good character moving forward, but especially after losing at WrestleMania, I think he really does need a win at Extreme Rules for himself. Especially going with the fact that, he is the only guy to beat Daniel Bryan in recent, as far as the pay-per-view goes. So, I'm interested to see what's going to happen here, and hopefully, Bray Wyatt goes over and hopefully we get a good cage match out of John Cena. Next, we get our WWE Championship match, which is WWE Champion Daniel Bryan versus Kane in the Extreme Rules match. Like I said, it wasn't a lot of build-up to this, but I think the WWE did the best they could with the time allotted. Damn, this dog is really fucking with me, and he's still barking. But yeah, I'm looking to see Daniel Bryan still keep his belts and hopefully get a good match out of Kane here. I see myself saying a lot of this to a lot of these guys, but you have some good guys in this whole pay-per-view that can, special event that can look like they can put on some really good matches and get some really good matches out of guys who been there for a while and a little bit older and who may not been able to give good matches a lot of the time. So hopefully we get a good match from these guys, a good Extreme Rules match, and seeing Daniel Bryan continue on as champion. Next you get your Divas match, which is Paige versus Tamina. Paige is going to win this match. I would like to see Tamina win here and AJ come back and something happened with AJ and Tamina leading in with also Paige as well going into the next pay-per-view. But I think Paige is going to win here, and hopefully these girls can have a good match here, and they can do something with this whole thing, and hopefully Paige does something after the pay-per-view on the next Raw to really put herself over as, you know, the next new bright diva that's going to change the division and take it from where AJ Lee last had it. So next you get your main event, which I think is going to be the main event, which is the Shield versus Evolution. The build up towards this match has been pretty good. I really do see Evolution winning here. I think if they're going to continue Evolution going on as a team, that they need to pick up the win over the Shield here, and, you know, figure out a brutal way to, you know, pick up the win here. Probably some type of, you know, a cheap way to keep this series going. I think that there's still a lot you can do with this whole thing with Shield and Evolution, going for at least a couple more pay-per-views, and then ending with, you know, SummerSlam with Triple H going against Roman Reigns. So, you know, I think there's a lot more that you can do here, and hopefully, you know, we have a good match with Evolution pick up the win here. I hope that, you know, none of the guys on the Shield go to Evolution. I just want it to be a straight, cool match, and the Shield to work the shit out of Evolution and, you know, make Evolution look good here and make both teams look good here. I just want a really good match here. So, yeah. Yeah, Extreme Rules this weekend. I'll come over my review after the show. Hopefully, you know, I get a chance to watch it live. If not, you know, I'll watch it when I get home. But, you know, thanks you for watching. Like, comment, subscribe. This video went on a little bit extra longer because of all the things I had in it. But, you know, it is what it is. So, you know, like, comment, subscribe. I have my links to hit me up down below. Hit me on Facebook at Christopher Wallace. And thank you for watching. Thank you for watching. Thank you for watching. You know, for anybody that watches my dumb ass on this motherfucking review, you know, thank you for sitting your time and, you know, watching me talk about wrestling. And peace out.